Hello, everybody. My name is Diana Winchester. Welcome to the Reclamation Center. Here at the Reclamation Center, we stand for justice for women. As you see the woman on our shirt, this is Lady of Justice. She wore a blindfold. And so a lot of times that means you're overlooked, second thought, forgotten. But here at the Reclamation Center, the Women's Justice Institute, we have lifted up that blindfold because again, we stand for justice for women. We see them, we hear them, we fight for them. And tonight, here's another example of a presentation with Shaz, Recovering Identity, Criminalized Women Fight for Dignity and Truth. So here you go.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. I just very quickly wanted to welcome everyone and thank you for being here. It's overwhelming and exciting and really wonderful. I'm going to try not to grateful a moment. But I just wanted to really quickly thank all the co-sponsors for the events. I think everyone who's come in here and just said how beautiful this space is. And so the work the Women's Justice Institute is doing is just as beautiful and powerful as the spaces. Like you can feel the energy of what they're doing when you're here. And so Diana and Keisha and Colette, who I think is on a train back from Springfield right now, and Deanne and Alexis, just thank you so much for just making this happen and all the work you put in to get the space ready and all the tech troubleshooting. It's so appreciated. So thank you for that. I can't think of a more perfect place for us to be gathered tonight. I want to thank obviously Love and Protect, my home collective. It's awesome to sharing work with them because the learning I have done with them over the years is central to this book. And so you are all co-authoring with me. So thank you for that. Moms United Against Violence and Incarceration. We are doing incredible work to support women and children and families that are tangled up in the criminal legal system. And then Illinois Prison Project as well. To also a whole initiative headed by Rachel White Domain to specifically push for clemency for survivors of gender-based violence who are incarcerated. And so, you know, I think those four organizations, I think we are doing some of the most important work in the city through a gender lens where we're centering gender-based violence in our work. And so it feels really important to me that this event is co-sponsored by those four organizations. I want to thank Chichiko for being here. We now their work is part of the revolution. And so thank you to Chichiko for what you're doing. Women and children first. Carly is in the back. Thank you. Book copies of my book are available, but also Carly has books that are on the list for Chicago Books to Women in Prison, which is an incredible organization that sends books inside to incarcerated women. So if you have a few extra dollars and if you want to purchase a book to donate to send to someone inside, Carly can help you with that as well. And I think with that, I'm going to, well, let me just say really quickly, it's amazing to be sitting here with the four of you. Latrice and Angela and I were talking at the event about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we met and we're doing interviews. That we could not have imagined this moment. It's really incredible. So I want to just acknowledge that and like feel it, like that's awesome. And then Rachel Keiber is gonna get mad at me, but when I was struggling very hard to finish writing this book, and I told Rachel this, she doesn't even remember it, but Rachel says these amazing things all the time that she doesn't even realize are so amazing. But I was struggling so hard to finish this book, and I had all this doubt of if I was the right person to write it, what was I doing? And Rachel said to me that part of what was so important about the book was the conversations that would come out of it. the spaces that it would create, the panels that we could have. And that was exactly what I needed to hear, to just push through that fear and realize that this book is a tool. Yes, I'm proud of it and it's important, but what's more important is what will grow out of it. And so being here tonight in this way, really is the manifestation of that beautiful advice that Rachel gave me when there was a real chance the book wasn't actually gonna not move on. So there's no one better to be tonight than Rachel and make everything in her.
Hi, everyone. Can people on the internet hear me? Just put an emoji or whatever. Internet. You all were complaining before. I'm gonna trust the chart here. I love, well, obviously, several things play. And what struck out like immediately was the power of the women in the talk. And even though I had not met them, even though they were using this one, yeah. Okay, even though I had not met them, they were not using their own real names. It felt like I knew them really intimately because their stories each had multiple levels, which with each paragraph that they were sharing. So I think this is a beautiful moment for everyone to introduce yourself. Maybe let us know who you are, IRL, and also who you were in the book, if that's something you care to share. And in the book, people spend a lot of time getting to know your journey. If you want to introduce yourself by telling people who you see yourself as today. So your name, who you were in the book, like here. How would you describe yourself? Start with phone names.
Hello, everyone. My name is Latrice in the book. And today, I don't know. I think I'm a little bit of color, but that's the description in the book. But I'm a lot Latrice. I've been through a lot. Now I came a long way, and I don't know if any of you know that. That's the that's my bloodshot. So, I look different, and for the most part, I am different, but that's still me. That's a part of me. That's just yesterday, and today is a little different.
All right now.
Tiny D. Look. Today, I'm a mother. Daughter. I am a sister. Auntie. Some of the things that I lost along the way in the journey in yesterday, I was able to pick them back. Or I'll just say, I'm building relationships because all of people asking them. I'm in school about to get my master's. Transit Authority almost the same 10 years. And I mean, the experiences that I went through, definitely I would take my part of my characteristics, so it's one of them become explained. Well, Julia in the book, my name is Queen. Today, it's so many things, and blessed to be involved in. So I just give you a few of them. Volunteer with Ignatius Spiritual Project with women from different shelters, overnight retreats. I always wanted to be a nurse
but God had other plans for me. But I'm a nurse and very in my church. So I do a lot of volunteer work today. And I'm grateful for every door, every opportunity that has opened for me.
Yes.
Hello? Yeah.
So like when I first met you, we had school. Like 16, like a bit, what I'm going to do for like a short chapter. Yeah, I was like, there goes lunch. I didn't even need it. Our ladies are so much more and cannot be contained in them or in this event. So I really encourage you all to like get to know them, reading through with them. I'm so So if you could tell us a little bit about what good about participating in this process, why did you put your heart into it, and what made you feel like it was worth it?
Rachel, would you mind re-asking that for people who are online? Unfortunately, the sound went out.
For the client. Under the panel, talk to us about what felt different about doing this project. Why they kept coming back, and sort of what was it that they were building that made this feel good?
The link is it on?
Now that it's right. I still got it going. It's a little. You don't like. That's small. Really small. Your bed is pretty tiny, isn't it? They say they can't go. Is it on? I felt like. So other than, in the beginning, yes. So is it something that's big, but other, you continuously met. To the same point.
I was gaining for chance as I was probably getting. And her questions, you know. But it was part of the thread that helped to create or develop cement to build a foundation, because you allowed me to talk to somebody that didn't know me from Adam and Eve and not judge me. You allowed me to share stuff about me that probably I haven't told a lot of people. And being able to open up to a perfect stranger, it was a sense of release. And now, you done came back to me. You got to stuff in here. I would like to ask the panel, but I know this might not have time. So, will we ever be rehabilitated? I feel like life journeys takes us in different directions. Just because yours would end up behind bars doesn't mean that have to have sense of rehabilitation. On my very many wrong going, but I thank God for my journey. I need that because I kept saying, well, Angel gonna do this, Angel gonna go with my program, Angel gonna go take Sebastian's, go get on the methadone program, and it never happened. So God just had slapped me on just so it's a children hand down for you. That's all I need.
For me, I don't even know how they even came back. I was so angry. And like she said, I think she in the wrong profession involved. But she asks us questions where stuff is like a grave emotional thing going on, and she asks you a question, you know. She said, sitting there like, it's for me, can you know, and just her, you know, calmness and being so humble. Listen, all I was wanted was someone to listen to me, and there she was. So after a while, it was like here go Chance. And I was just so excited because more and more, it's like I was feeling because I had no idea. I didn't know who I was, what my purpose was, what I wanted to do in life, or anything. But it was just something about this lady that just was just drawing stuff out of me. And then I didn't have no choice because Pastor Bernie said, oh no, I just want you to go to school. So I couldn't go to work, I couldn't do anything, so I was always good. She had showed up. So I just sat back and because she and it was very emotional visits and interviews, but she was always there with her heart. She gave so much to us, you know. But I'm gonna give you this camera, and I want you to go take pictures, and I want you to write these things down about this stuff like. And she was always just giving, but what she gave us herself. You know, and then when she went away and she texted me, she said, I'm going to North Carolina. I said, what? She wants to be on time. She left us, you know. But then when my birthday came around, she said, I'm in Chicago. Would you like to have a piece of? That meant so much to me. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to lose somebody like that. Even if she moved to Alaska, she will always be mine. So.
So this is the actual account that I got from Chess. And I love this camera. I love what I did with the camera. I love the time we spent. When she first came, it was the comfortability that she provided for me to open up. We started talking about my time in jail, in prison, things like that. And before everything was said and done, we talked about everything. And she became like family, and she still is like family. You know, like Queen said, when she left, that didn't end the relationship. It enhanced because we still stayed in touch, we still text, we still talk for the 10 years that it's been. And we still do, you know. That board right there, that's my pictures, that's the board. Me and Chad spent hours putting that board together, talking about my life. Coming from darkness into the new and reaching new heights. That's when I was in my madness, when I was in prison, and a lot of what Grace House have done for me on that board. She is so good that she went to the court with me when I had my background sealed. She didn't have to do that. But she didn't have a problem doing it. My immediate family is not in Chicago. We talk about me being out of my kids' life for the years that I wasn't there, from going to jail and prison. We talked about me going to boot camp and admitting to them and to myself that I wasn't ready, that when I got back out, and that hurt her, and she cried, and I cried. Not for me, but what it did to other people. And I didn't see it when I was doing it. but I saw it now. And I felt comfortable to continue opening up on things that I didn't even know with. You know, a lot of things that we do, we hurt ourselves more than we hurt anybody. But guess what? Anybody that loves you or cares about you, I found out you bring things. And I really didn't realize that. I realized that. That's all. That's why I keep that. To remind me of me. I'm in recovery, but I haven't recovered. When I transition, I'll recover. Until then, it's always yet. And I'm not confused about it. That's one of the reasons I keep this window too. That represents to me when I was in decay and I was locked up. And I used to see people like y'all going about their everyday life, whatever that represented, working at McDonald's, taking their kids to school, whatever it was. And I said, when I get back out this time, I'm not giving myself to that no more. If I can work prison and I don't have a choice to get $30 a month, I look turning my nose up talking about minimum wage. Let me get that. I don't have to worry about the catch will come before the hangers, because that's what I was doing, playing with myself. I didn't care, but I kept it. And I'm doing something different. And I appreciate my family. I appreciate y'all, because don't nobody owe you nothing. But you owe yourself a lot. And I'm trying to get that to anybody who wants this. Not for me, for the people that come behind and the people that came before. So I thank you all. And I love children.
We all love Chad.
We'll get it to jail.
But I just. Thank you for saying about starting us on that road. Because the photos are a very unique way Chaz sort of got people involved in the project. And I want to give each of the ladies a chance to sort of take us through how you chose, what you took photos of, and what you wanted people to see or feel when they were. Latrice, you started. I want to see if Angel or PB have the follow-ups. We're gonna use the mic at the.
Just the battery. The photo with the Bible, the daily bread, and the Living Recovery Bible. I don't know. At one time I read the Bible, at one time I read the daily bread. And then I had the life. Got to a point where I knew it all clear. I knew it all clear. Probably in some, it was no pick and choose. It was a time of devotion for myself or meditation and my constant contact with God and my understanding, which saved the rest like me. Yet for his grace, I would still be somewhere in a line or hiding from the police, like she said, the catching comes on the hand. And, you know, I did have a few aliases, but a lot of times they gave me aliases misspelling my name. But those tools are very important, and a lot of times now, my life, going to school and working and all the things that I do, I don't take the time that I used to take with those books, but I do pray almost 15, sometimes 20 times a day to get on my surroundings. And God just get me down the street, get me past this. Hope that person that's driving crazy don't let me get on time. Sometimes I'll be rushing on a car, get in front of me. Say, man, let me get around him, and soon driving go, we're going another. Like slow, I say, thank God. Because he saved me from some. Must be myself. That's a must. What is a tease? Well, I take my tease and I need. I mean, I feel start with another program. Which school is this? Look down. That's, I don't wanna see that again. That was the second homicide, when you go into the women's division to visit people. I was even thought I was the best criminal that. Honestly, circumstances, I used to things and from the outside. That put it at me a whole lot more. But I look at that corner and I just thank God that I don't even have to go to the front, go to the criminal courts. Cause I've been, even my mother.
So. This is me. When I first got to the Grace House. I made you wait about 175 days. So I was trying to smile. Trying. Those certificates, meant a lot to me. Because that was the only thing I owned. I earned them. Honestly. And so I cherish those certificates. I still have those certificates today. I have a whole envelope, actually, I got a whole box of them. But these two right here. I divorced the devil. And I got an insurance policy against them too. So I'm serious about my certificates. All of them was feeling I was spiritually bankrupt. I was longing for my children. If they didn't abandon me, I abandoned them. I didn't have hope in anything, so those certificates were all I had. Those were mine. I could claim them. I had no keys, no lease, no job, no anything, but I had those certificates, and those certificates gave me hope that if I can get this, if I can achieve these, I can go even higher. I can do even more. And I did. I went back to high school and I got my high school diploma. I went to church. Worked at CTA until I became disabled. But God found another way to use me. He said, don't let your disability deprive you of the ability that you do have. I can still use it. You might be a broken ground, but you can still make some beautiful colors. And I did that for me. My children are back in my life. My family is back. And I love my family and my children. They stuck with me in spite of everything that I took them through. You know what I'm saying? I'm still holding on to my certificate, and this is a lifelong thing, this divorce from state, because I can't go back. Thank you.
Well, speaking of Ches, I would like Ches to talk a little bit about why, the dramatic green light is on. Why, Ches, you chose this method, like, why did you choose the photo elicitation? And what made you stick with this particular method?
So I could talk about this for hours and hours. There's lots of answers to this. So at a really personal level, like not like academic or theoretical at all, I have been really lucky to have some incredible teachers in my life. When I was an undergraduate at Illinois Wesleyan University, I had this phenomenal professor named Georgianne Wundblad who taught a social documentary photography class, and we just got to like play with cameras and we learned how to develop film, and we did all these incredible projects, and something about that just stuck with me. I mean, it was a really powerful experience. And then I got really lucky in grad school. There was a professor there named Mary Burns, who some folks in the room know, who taught a visual method course, and it kind of reminded me of and reignited this like love that I felt for this method. And Lisa Fruman, who is sitting here, is an incredible scholar and theorist, and academic at UIC who wrote this incredible article based on her photo elicitation project, the Framing Safety Project, with domestic violence survivors. And I remember being on the Metro train, like at 10 o'clock at night after a grad class, reading Lisa's article and just being blown away at like how beautiful and powerful, and like this was research that mattered. And then Lisa very graciously agreed to serve on the dissertation committee, even though I wasn't at her school. And that was because of Judith Whitner, who really sadly is no longer with us, but Judy was an incredible mentor and knew Lisa really well, and that's what feminist mentors do, is they make connections and make sure people are supported in trying out new ideas and new methods. So at a very personal level, I was just really lucky that I had these incredible, smart, creative women who taught me like at different points in my life, and allowed me to learn that method. And then I guess in a more like theory, methods, academic way, you know, I knew that I was really different from the women that I was going to be interviewing. You might tell we look different. But you know, I am like this solidly middle class white girl that grew up in the suburbs, like a very comfortable life, like very loved, very supported. I know like all of my family is on the Zoom. I love you guys, thank you. And so, you know, it would just be like really presumptuous of me to think with all of these social privileges that I had, no matter how much reading I did or how much, you know, scholarship I had studied, it seemed really backwards for me to like come up with a list of interview questions and impose those on to people who were living with such structural violence that, you know, I very thankfully have not lived with. And so, you know, it was through learning from others and really realizing, and I still believe this, that photo elicitation is this really powerful way to decenter power in the research process. And, you know, I know there are a lot of feminist teachers in the room, like that's what we try to do in the classroom, right? Is like decenter power so that we are creating spaces for students to lead the way, to drive the, you know, the conversations, to make connections, you know, to their lives. And so that was something I really wanted to do with the research process, was to kind of get out of the way and ask people to, you know, take a chance on me, which luckily folks did, and to let me into their lives and to show me what they were seeing. And I'm so glad that I did it, because the things that all, you know, three of you and really everyone else who participated in the project wanted to talk about and wanted to show me were not things that I came into the study thinking about or wanting to talk about. And it was really through the interviews and through these really powerful photos and what all of you said about them that you all helped to shift my focus and realize that there were all these other things happening with criminalization and incarceration and coming out of jail and prison that I wasn't really paying enough attention to. And that was really it. And I feel really lucky that I did that succeeded. I think that I did finally get out of the way and let these really powerful stories you know, come through. And I don't know that that would have happened without the photos. And I think just hearing the three of you talk tonight about what the interviews were like for you and what the photos meant to you, and hearing you talk about the photos, and Latrice, you still having your camera, and you still having your photo board. And I think that speaks for itself. You know, it kind of shows the power of that type of a method and the type of connection that it can foster.
I love that. I'm doing a temperature check. How are people feeling? All right. There's still food. There's some drink. Everybody at home, get yourself food and drink. Chaz, when you were talking about like disrupting certain forms of power, we have to think about the fact that part of the way that we come to know each other is that all of you survive multiple kinds of systems, including the criminal. And that's not a system where people are famously made to feel power. right? So, but all of you are such powerful women. Such amazing humans, how, like. During this process specifically, what were some moments that made you feel like you were the most powerful person in the world?
Um, Probably just admitting and taking back the power of my life, you know, admitting the things that I did to myself, to my family, and owning up to them, holding myself accountable, and stepping up going forward, you know, not necessarily beating myself up, but keeping it up front. Because if I forget, I might tend to go back instead of forward. So I have to keep it where it's at, you know, I graduated from the high school, you know, I went to Grace House as a resident and I'm still there. I went to Grace House in 2005 and I'm still there. I haven't went no place, you know, I moved, that's not what I mean. But I'm talking about far as me giving up myself and wanting to give up myself. And that's my home away from home. That's my extended family, you know. And I don't just say that, I don't take that lightly. I mean that. My heart, my soul, my mind is there because it did so much for me. And I know what it did for me. And I want to get that to somebody else, you know. It's hard out here if you make it hard. And it's hard out here if you don't have nobody to open up and want to help. You know, sometimes you need someone to want to help you first. Before you feel the love, you start loving, you want to do for yourself. I want to, it was there for me. When I came, a whole lot of love, a whole lot of caring that a lot of places it's not there, you know. And then I started to feel better, and I was able to give some of that back, not just to the women now, but to my own family. You know, I had messed that up. I messed that up. I did that. I thought I was doing good because when I got out there so bad, here, to take my kids. But guess what? They did good, my parents. But I did. My kids still wanted me. I know I hurt. But I thought I was just hurt. I thought, you're okay because you didn't take them running the streets with you on this road. But I still love. For 10 years of my life, I loved my kids. And at the same time, I going to Grace House gave me a chance to sit down and guess what they told me? Work on you. Get to know Latrice. And I'm still getting to know Latrice. Or else.
In a program that I participate in, like all of these says, you notice the similarities instead of the differences. Our stories are so much alike. Just being a mother or a mother that my kids say, well, sure, why don't you take the kids and go to wherever you want to go? Because at one time I was there, going anywhere with them. There was a time that I couldn't even talk about the fact that I wasn't there without crying and balling up or being fearful that I might lose my parents when I was locked up. Just so many things. And then you say, what was one of the proudest moments? The powerful moment was in 2019 when I walked across the stage in Northeastern Illinois. Received my bachelor's degree. Another powerful moment was when they asked me to share in the women's gender studies, and I was able to talk about the same things I'm talking about now, as well as being able to continue in my education. Still have both my parents here. I lost my sister in 2020, but just to be able to make a cake every other weekend for my mother, that's all she wants. That's it. Because it's still times, I think that's why I said, program. Just every day. I'm just, hey, I don't do it anymore. So when I finally got that 7 years, and did them 3.5 years, and the realization is that I didn't do it by myself, because they nowhere in the world in jail could have walked past Cameron. I don't know what they count, oh, in Augusta, leaving Leslie's place every day, going to whatever it was, whether it was to to the church, to the place on Chicago Avenue, going to look for a job, going to a meeting, I mean, literally walking through fire. Every corner, you need this, you need that. And Jill probably said, yeah, we in, but God saw fit to make sure I'm ready to get where I need to go. Tunnel vision, get on back in that house like I'm supposed to, as you said, the structured, lifestyle. Because something easy, I messed it up. It had to be hard. It had to be structured. It had to be rigorous because I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I probably wouldn't be on my way to completing my master's at the end of this year. I'll get into probably when I'm children in July last week. Last time Saturday, I mean, that's so many blessings. I mean, I just opened my eyes and today I'll be like, is that you? Something. But yeah, I'm getting to know, like you said, I'm getting to know me. Okay.
So in the book, if you read Julia, the way the chess wrote, it's like my language is broken. It's still that street talk. That's how well she listens. She captured that person, because I didn't have that good pronunciation, vocabulary, and she captured that, and I was really cracking up when I read. That's how well she listened. I think the most powerful moment for me too was walking across that stage. When they gave me that diploma and I opened up, see that piece of paper. And the next time was my first year sobriety. I thought I was gonna die in my addiction. 37 years. I lost my mom at 16. So 4 days after my mom died, I had twins, and it was me and them against the world. So every relationship I got into was abusive, and it was drug infested. So that's all I know. I thought that was normal way to live, So I was in there to the moment I got top. Say, Lord, I can't do this no more. And he rescued me in 2012. And so I feel as though I could do things today because I've had a lot of help. I've had a lot of women who have empowered me. My first time hearing a voice for somebody was with Corlette. She said, come on, I want you to go somewhere with me. She didn't tell me what. Right. So we get down here to this conference center. She handed me a piece of paper and a mic, and she said, I want you to read this. So I don't know, I was afraid, standing there trembling, but I was reading and I had that mic because this lady had so much energy. I just wanted what she had. So in the big book said, we have to offer. You have to be willing to take certain steps.
Yeah.
So I had to step out on faith and grace. You know what I'm saying? They had this word called John. See, I know words. I have to be courageous. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna do this, you know what I'm saying? And she took me many places. I'm also a participant with WJI right now because Colette has taken us places. These people have given us purpose and opportunity. Every time we come here, they opening up new doors. This is women empowering other women. This is where our power comes from. I can talk to my children. I can be a mother to my children from these people who have helped me in this new way of life, to help me to build character. You know, to have empathy for my own children who I have damaged, you know, in my past and stuff. So God He's the power, but He has given me power to be a good mom, a good grandmother, a good friend to somebody. They call me, I got a lot of letters, because I was like, what am I doing? You think they got these and all that stuff. So he gave me this letters called AOH, which is Ambassador of Hope. LEL, which is Live Experience Leader, and it's a couple more letters and stuff. I had letters, you know. Well, so.
Complicated, deeper questions. Because in the book, you all talk about your journeys, and as I was reading your experiences of prison and jail, I was reading a lot of what seemed like really cruel, really hard things, like getting punished for, like, getting punished for things that didn't make sense to me, or people, like not respecting your privacy and sort of, breaking people down in that way. And then on the other, like by the end of the page, I'm reading stories about your empowerment and sort of journey, and I'm wondering, do you all think you would have experienced the journey in a different way, or what would it have looked like if you, without the really, really hard, sometimes cruel things you experienced in prison? Like, it sounds like you all were holding these two things in the same hand. And I was like, I had a lot of questions about like the system that really, like Grace House and the recovery really helped you. But then there were some of the parts where I was like, nobody should have gone through that. How are you all holding that in your mind and in your hearts? Don't have to-
I think the motion.
If you never went through nothing, you won't appreciate nothing. So I like to keep both. So I can see how, for me, that I would compare something. We have seasons, we have rainy days, we just had one yesterday. And it was a doozy. Sometimes you have just rain, sometimes you have storms. Think about what's going on in the world, what's going on. Like that. You have things that happen that's on this level, and you have things that's just right there. Then you go way down there. But if you never had bad, how you gonna appreciate the good and the great? So I need to know that. I need to acknowledge that, and I need to go on from that and have appreciation for all of it. Just because I had a bad day or a bad moment, don't mean it have to stay like that. See, and for me, I have to talk about it, I have to write about it, and I have to keep it. I'm the person who, you can't just tell me, I need to see it in black and white. That's the way I talk, and that's the way I learn. So for me to experience stuff and go through something, when I was in prison, I had to tell myself, it was two things that happened that really stood out to me. And I know some people got way worse than me. But when I was working in the kitchen and someone decided to smoke, because when I was born, you could smoke. they decided to sneak and smoke. I never smoked cigarettes. I smoke, but I ain't smoked cigarettes. You don't need that long, but you know what I mean. So this person decided to smoke. So now all of us is held accountable. I use. Can I use the bathroom? It's bad enough I gotta ask. Can I use the bathroom? Then you hear, no. Until we find out. And this the kid. I know you don't smoke. But until we find out, you can't go to the bathroom. I say never in life. Will I do that to me again? Cause I did this. Letting people have power over when I can use the bathroom. Never do I wanna go through that no more. And then I took it further. I don't even wanna be where you have control over if a door gets open. Cause all they do is get keys. You're not opening the window. You're not getting a bag of chips or nothing else. If they say you can't have it. So I had to think about that. And I still think about that today. It was another situation where I had came in from work. And I worked at night. Work at night now too, ain't that something? And I'm in the room and I'm trying to get some sleep. Now here they come talking about a shakedown. What? They know I just came in. I wasn't in whatever y'all talking about. So what? Get in the day room, they throw stuff everywhere. They're not considerate, they don't care, you know. Throw stuff all over the place. You gotta stay up for 2-3 hours. What's that? Can I go take a shower? No, you can't go take no shower. So I never wanna do that next. Today, I appreciate any and everything, good, the bad, and the ugly, you know, because it makes me think and it makes me appreciate the days that I do have good, and I do have great. I think about some of them days when I do. And I know as sure as I'm living, life will show up. So I have to think about that. So let me put it in perspective for you. That right there, as far as the book, I keep my stuff. Don't nobody else have to hold me accountable. I hold myself accountable.
Some say. Even I see just about summed it up though. When we make a decision to be involved in criminal activity and get caught. You get caught by that caught. You subjected to somebody having a bad day at home. They gotta come to an 8-hour shift, might be 16 hours. And because you locked up, that's just what you are. That's how. They care that you might be out of pass if you having a menstrual cycle. They care that if your light in your cell might not work, or do they care that your roommate stop breathing? And you literally trying to tell them, when she breathing, and they just, you know, people got a job to do. I'm not saying that was right, but I allow myself to be so worthless that people had authority over my life at a time. And only God knows what could have happened. In His grace, I'm still here. You said some personal stuff. Well, some of the personal stuff, I have 3 kids. I have twin boys and a 44-year-old daughter. And I thought that 44-year-old daughter would be the one that would always throw stuff in my face about, hey, you did this or you did that and right here and this, that, and the third. But it's the baby of the twins that sometimes is very confrontational about stuff that I did, or I wasn't there, or you needed me, or you told me it was coming back and it didn't come back. And it's startling. And sometimes he's 30, 35 now. some of the conversations that we have, he still has pain that he hasn't processed. And it nerves at me, but I have to allow him the time to heal. I can't push the fact that I'm okay today in his face. I have to allow him to heal. Sometimes some of his anger issues that he has, I feel like, well, maybe if I had to be this a little different, he wouldn't feel that way, but evidently it's something that had to be transmitted down through the lineage in order for us all to understand and get better with. He's a mother's son, is that saying the right? Mother, boy, mom. Wait. No, it's nothing he doesn't give to wonder. Even in my madness. Not just to glorify the things that I've done, but at one time I was selling some stuff. And he was all of 17, Mom, can I work the dough? Can I work the, oh, you don't know these people. But I mean, just that, to show you how connected to me he was, but now that the coin is flipped a little bit on the other side, a couple of Christmases ago, he said, oh my, they got this apple crown royal, why don't you take a sip? I said, well, if I take that sip, you want to see what it used to be like? I said, no, I'm not. But the realization is you just don't know. It's like some things, there's time I could walk by straws that look like this. When I saw that straw, I said, if I did this, well, nobody know, but the realization is you better play that tape all the way out. Because that first bid at learning and climate corrections was a turnaround. So I went down there in the process and come back home. Next time it was only 30-some days. The next time it might have been all of 6 months, but that last time when they said 3 years out of Will County, 4 years out of Kane County, 7 years all combined, 3.5 years I had to sit in our DOC. I wasn't thinking of no more creative ways. I didn't want to see nobody's badge no more. It's just some of the things, like even in Chad's book, she wrote about the people that have babies while they're incarcerated, how you get to spend a moment with that baby. If you got a life sentence, the chances of you seeing that baby again are slim, but with the grace of God, some people still have those relationships. But I would wish it on my worst enemy. It's hard mentioned to hear some of the stories I heard while I was down there. It's hard mentioned to think about some of the roommates I had. That's it, you get the roommate from hell because they gonna be there and you get to go home and come back again before they go home. So you just, it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. This book shares a lot of life. Oh my God, situations. And I appreciate that. Diana Winchester, where she go?
Yeah, right here.
This is good stuff right here. Yeah. Seriously, this is what, I mean, somebody need to hear. Yeah, we ain't gonna say one person can make a big difference, but it starts somewhere. Just never know where it might end up.
For me, as many agencies as I had, I still don't have Bluebird.
Yes.
The Bluebird take you down that back road to that place. You know what I'm saying? Southern part of Illinois. My worst experience with them was, I think a parole violation. And they drove me straight down there in the police cars. And I was going through withdrawals. And by the time we got there, I couldn't stand up. I mean, it was like the life was just leaving me. So they sent me to the home for discrimination, some other stuff they added on to that made me the parole people at the time and made me stay a little bit longer. But they put me in a hole and it just felt like I was dying. And they kept hollering, she can't breathe. I can't feel her pulse. And no one never came. And the girl that was in there with me, she sat on the floor and she kept putting cold toilet tissue on my face and she kept slapping me. And then she started singing to me and she kept saying, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then I started going through some more stuff, out of the stuff, and she started hollering through the fire, somebody help, she's dying in here. Nobody never came, and then somebody hollered. When they take her to the shower, let us know. So when the next couple of days, when I was able to get up and go to the shower, one of the girls had put her mess in the soap dish. And that's what saved me. They never sent me for medical attention. We stayed in that place for 30 days. We're not going to the infirmary. That was the worst experience I had in that place, besides working in the kitchen as a cook, as a dishwasher. Feet swole up, they took me off of my medication. I can barely walk, and they tell me, please, Miss Brown, don't leave, please, Miss Brown, my son. What? I'm going to the front. Call the ambulance, call your mama, I don't care, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? So I just fell out. You know, that was the only way I was gonna get some attention. I'm talking about my knees was this big. My feet couldn't even go in the shoes good. You know what I'm saying? The boots they had on, you would get in trouble, you would get a ticket or sent to say for not having no boots on in that kitchen. I couldn't tie the boots up. So I did the best that I could. I got a thing from the doctor that I could wear gym shoes. So that's when they put me in the kitchen. I got burned. Did I go to the infirmary? No, slap the Band-Aid on. You know, so those just a few experiences that I will wish on nobody to have to go down there and be sick going in. They bringing me in up the road, ambulance going out the road. As soon as they give me clear, give me to a room, girl, and die from asthma attack because the infirmary is way over there, and they have to bring her asthma pump and medication way over here to medicate her. It costs you $5 to go get 2 pain pills. You don't get for $10, what? Stay paid if you ain't got no money on the books, or you ain't got a decent job in the penitentiary. And I'm like, that's, you know, that cruel and unusual punishment for real. They have to go. So I keep all that up front, like they said. You know what I'm saying? That pain of going through that and seeing other people go through even worse. You know, I have to keep that up front. I don't ever want to send my children through that. And I think Tree said in the beginning, we did ourselves more harm than we did anybody else. So I wrote Queen a letter that I would never hurt her again. You know what I'm saying? If I can't love me, I can't love my children. And I can't love this person, that person, or none of you are. You know what I'm saying? So I have to do me first. And I told my children that coming in the door, look, I got to go in this place for me. I can't do this for you all. This time is for me. Because I'm tore up on the inside, I don't know who I am. That penitentiary going in and out, that penitentiary, them drugs, them relationships, God, it got to be a better way. He just turned my life around. And I have never been more happy. I have 11 years clean, y'all, never in my life. Even fun. That first year, if I can do it this 1 year, I can keep going. Like she said, them straws, the bag, dusty. I worked at the Leslie place. And I tried to find the easiest route to get there. But like she said, God will give you that tunnel vision where all you can see is where you're going. You don't see, you know they're on that corner, but you ain't going on that corner. You need to go to work. You know what I'm saying? When you want to smoke your cigarette, keep out the door, pick up, put it out the back in the bed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just real happy. Luke Chase gave us this opportunity to speak. She has done so much to all. So I give her another hand.
Great, there are people, so you let two people, let people know.
Okay, we're gonna get to the Q and A in a few minutes, but I do wanna, now that somebody did bring up Chez, I feel like one of the things that was remarkable to me about this blend is the way Ches was able to look at everyone's experience with a lot of empathy, but then also have a lot of like a critical vision of what was happening. That was like a little bit of a bird's eye view. And so I don't know, Ches, if you feel like you can talk about some of the things you noticed around how the systems all interlock with each other and sort of like a little bit of what you saw from how these programs impacted the women and how the women sort of took this program and made it their home, like took what they needed from the program and left what wasn't serving them.
I'm trying to dodge the sun, so. I
thought you were coming to show.
No, I never, I never wanted to. So I'm just, sitting here. Listening to the three of you share what you just shared, like again, like I've been privileged to hear versions of that. Some of those things I had heard before, like I'm like still taking it in. But I just, I'm blanking on your question already, Rachel, so pull me back on track. I'm not, but like, I mean, what I got being struck by was just the immense amount of work. All three of you, I mean, everyone that participated in the project, but I'm just gonna speak about the three of you right now because you're here. Just the immense amount of work that you continuously were doing to survive this violence. And I have to acknowledge that Richie, in Jeff's work in our production, Beth gives us this violence matrix that helps us understand those connections between interpersonal violence and community violence and state violence. And you probably don't remember this, Beth, but you signed arrested justice for me as I was just about to defend my proposal. And I told you, I was like, you gave me my theoretical framework, thank you. But like, I hear what you all are saying, and it shouldn't take that much, like I don't want you or anyone to have to survive that much violence. Like all of you had already survived so much before you even ran into the first police officer, before you were even on the first Bluebird. I mean, Queen, hearing you talk, it's not a given that you're here right now, right? And it was someone else inside who saved you, right? The care, the humanity that still was able to flourish in such a violent place. I mean, that's just remarkable to me. And I don't know if we appreciate that enough. Just like how relentless this violence actually is. And how much work it takes continuously to continue to not just survive, but like how you're thriving now, right? And how you do that for each other, right? Like Queen, you just said like you wrote Latrice a letter, right? Like you weren't gonna put her through it again, right? And so just thinking about like wanting to really honor and understand the really powerful relationships and care that you all showed for each other, that really claimed humanity in such a violent and oppressive place. Like for me, that needs, really needs to be front and center and just acknowledged. Because, I think like even starting out on this project, like I think a lot of us are pretty well versed in like the discrimination people face once they have a criminal record, right? Like it's hard to get housing, it's hard to get a job, it's hard to get healthcare, it's hard to get counseling, it's hard to get your kids back. Like we kind of know about like the procedural, the policy, the legal barriers. But for me, there's just something like so deep about the violence to oneself and like the violence to your very humanity that was happening. That I just like wanted to like scream that from the rooftops, like I just want people to really understand like, what criminalization, what jails, what prisons are doing, and just how much really deep hurt that, that it's causing. And then just there's so much additional trauma to then live with and survive for yourselves, for each other, for your children, for your families. And so I just really, yeah, it's hard to do. I hope I did it well enough. I mean, I think that trying to write it was to really honor the strength and like the beauty and the way you all cared for each other and for yourselves and claimed humanity, like refused to be erased, you're here. But also like not letting the system off the hook, right? Like you being here is in despite of that violence, and I don't want anyone to go through that anymore. And I just wish that at some point, we as a society had responded in a more loving and like caring way, to all of you. And maybe it wouldn't have taken like 7 trips, to Logan or Decatur. Maybe if there had been more care, I don't know, it's incredible you're all here. Like, I'm so happy you're here. And I'm like so angry. And like, and part of what you had to survive is like things that like our systems do, right? And it's like, that's something I think I just really want us to change that.
Now. Question times again. Great. I think that there's a question.
We just shared a question in the chat if Jess would like to read it.
Mary Van Thompson says, thank you, here's my question. If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be? That's a real small, narrow.
Just walk. The place over is the.
One of the thing going to what you said, yes, the prison system is set in place to make a correction. I'm gonna say the people that work in the system, because that's just like with the guns. The guns ain't causing anybody to die, it's the people. It's the devil. So it's the people from the prison system. I mean, everybody's not gonna always be on one accord, but like Judge Fox, I think it was in Maywood, the different judges that have or even have stamps of approval for different recovery programs. A lot of times people get sent back to the penitentiary continuously, when they really need some type of mental health, or they may even need some type of recovery. Instead of going to the church, I'm not saying that everybody can get it. So God knows when it's for the judge, I didn't get it. When it was for my family, I didn't get it. When it was for my kids, I still didn't get it. But when I was really like somewhat crying out, talking about, I'm gonna get in a program. I'm gonna do this. Next week I'm gonna do that. Well, next week I'm paying, but somebody higher than me said it's time. And I had to face up to the stuff that I had done, own up to the situation and deal with them people in them people's places. Because the institution is there. Yes, they put a lot of money into the institution, but they need to put more programs in the institution, just like programs to help the people. Some type of, give them some type of direction. Don't just lock them up, throw away the key. And make sure they don't infirmary bill $5 that's waiting list for 6 months by the time you get to be your turn to go home. So, okay.
Did I refer?
No.
There's a second question, but I'm gonna have her repost it because we can't see it. I can just read it out loud. Dr. Gwendolyn
How have the
Purefoy asks, can you hear me?
My job. The memory captured through the picture helps you actualize your greatness, and critical contributions to your community as you recover your own identity. Right? And they specifically want to know, how have your memories helped you do all of this amazing work? when a victim was trying to like extract or destroy her stuff. That he made clever.
So when I was at Leslie's place, there was a young lady, I guess I can say her name. Laura Dean Glasgow. She was a recovery coach for organization called Campaign for a Georgia West Side. And she came thankfully. And she would have different sessions with me, other women in the house. I tell her, I often wonder what it took to be a recovery coach. Once I got out of Leslie's place, I was afforded that same opportunity to be a recovery coach for the Women of Sisters House, which is in Oak Park, Chicago, Oak Park, Illinois now today. When COVID came, one of my supervisors asked me, why did you go into that house? Because of what was so freely given to me, I had took initiative to call Sister's House and make sure that everybody was okay. I knew I was okay. And I got approval from people at Sister's House to come to Sister's House and have a regional meeting, just being the recovery coach. And because I didn't ask my boss, we kind of rubbed heads and I decided to move on from that position, but just being able to give back what was so really given to me, like this one, like I said, and this one. You can't transmit anything you don't have, and I feel like being in a position to gain from others and give back to others helps with each different entity, correction center, women justice center, women gender center. I mean, it's just being able to gain and grasp all the knowledge you can to give back to someone, not knowing that maybe somebody like that say. Just never know that.
I gave my sponsor a lot of trouble. This lady had so much love, so much patience, so much understanding. Till it broke my heart when she didn't relapse. She had a nervous breakdown. In recovery, they say if you give too much of yourself, you will lose yourself. And she had like 10, 15 sponsors, and she trying to make everybody's meeting, and she wanted to get married, and she put all this other stuff on her plate. But she always made time for her sponsees. We go to the house, we sit down, we eat lunch, we argue, we cry, we fuss. I want to rewrite the literature, I want to rewrite the Bible, she wanted to herb. And she just had patience with me. And I went through her telling me you can't talk for a year, like really. Who's the stage, right? So somebody was saying, okay, it's time for you to stop being obedient and follow instructions. Being in a fellowship is like a behavioral modification program. Because you couldn't follow instructions out there, we're gonna try to teach you how to follow instructions in here. And I was like the book was, this is too much. This is too much. But I knew I didn't want to go back, so I kept going back to him. Like they say, keep coming back. So I kept going back until the miracle happened. And so I guess I was being trained up because after she passed, I didn't lose anything for going to meetings. They just weren't the same with her not there. Then pandemic hit. But what I did do was volunteer with Ignatius Spiritual Project. And I went as a retreat group. I ended up a witness. I ended up a facilitator. I ended up the ambassador of hope. So I grew up in this program, Ignatius Spiritual Project. I grew up with St. Little Ministry. They have opened up so many opportunities. I still go back to the Grace House. their doors always open to us, you know what I'm saying? Just because I work in CTA don't mean I can go back to St. Louis. And see if they can help me find something suitable for, that will fit my disability, where I won't have to stay too long or whatever, and they work with us. So this is where I found my purpose. Cause I kept praying, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I wanna work with children. So I said, you don't wanna do that. So I want you to go back into the recovery homes. So he said he worked for the Lexington place. These people in there, I had to be real humble, but I found myself being a mother, a sister, a friend, a teacher, a Bible instructor, a Sunday school teacher, AA. I was sponsoring people's, and I was like, "Whew, you so used to me." So when we started doing, before I became facilitator, they had gave me a position because they were short staffed. So they gave me a position as a team leader. I didn't even get facilitator group. They didn't jump me all the way to a team leader, right? So now I got all these responsibilities. And I'm like, okay, guys, you move. That's too fast. Say, but I love everything that I do because I can take that home. I take some of those people home with me. I went to New York my first time ever getting on a plane. It was in Jersey. The lady there, I walked in there, she was crying. And I said, Lord, what am I supposed to do? He said, go talk to her. And me and that lady friends right now today. She's a caterer. She has her own apartment. Me and her on the phone, FaceTiming. I'm sponsoring her, I'm coaching her, I'm just, we all night, every night, me and her on this phone, I'm like, son, we might never see each other again in life, but God made a way. We see each other again in New Orleans, and I take somebody home with me in my heart from all of these places. I continue to pray for them because I hear their story, I hear their pain. I can feel they being there. It's like I want to reach in. I wish I could take it out. You know what I'm saying? Throw it to the side somewhere. But all they need is for us to be there. They just want us to listen to them. They might need that hug. They might need that bump. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I found my purpose. And I don't have to. Whew, I just don't want anybody down.
Doing a good job.
More questions from the in-person audience? Made the mic drop. And I think that we are running a little short on time, and I do wanna, like, all of you ladies, so amazing. You all are giving back so much, and have a room full of academics, we have a room full of advocates, we have a room full of social workers, we have a room full of families. What's one thing you want each of these people to do to support women who are trying to recover, haven't recovered yet, recovering from being in prison and jail? Like, what is one thing you think everyone here can do that we're honoring that you're about?
Keep showing up. All y'all here, all of us are here. Everybody that's here is here by choice. And I think that's the best thing to just keep showing up with, it helped, Our chair started with us, was showing up and living, and I think it's important. Sometimes it's good to talk, but you have to know how to listen. I said,
also get involved, cause she's involved in everything we did. She wasn't being nosy, she was being. Empathy and a desire to wanna help us. You know what I'm saying? So her getting involved with us did help, cause here we are.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for that. We're gonna wrap it up now. It's around 7:15. Want to give people time. If you can, take some time to absorb some of these images. They're so powerful, and then you're gonna read the book because you're going to buy them from Limited Children. You're wearing your Love and Protect t-shirt, they can also purchase it. And you're going to get the full experience when you read the book and remember the impact that these. I wanna thank us so much for writing this book and doing this process and modeling for us what it looks like to listen and show up to people. I wanna thank community, I wanna thank Laura, like Patrice, and thank Angel. You know, everything, you know, I want to thank Women's Justice Institute for this beautiful day. Mom United, I want to thank you too. Love and Protect. I love you, love you, love you, love you. You're so welcome. I want to thank anyone that has not. So, like, I want you all to think about how you're contributing to these projects, whether like recovery projects, projects for people coming out of prisons, projects for people who are in prison. I want to shout out the Prison and Neighborhood and Arts Education Project. There's not enough in the women's prison. So like shout out to PNAP and we support that work whenever you see that come across your email. And I want to invite you all to hang out a bit. Thank you so much. Chichiko, are you here? That we're always on deck to all of these women talked about the importance of like being able to be in relationship to their children. And if it's not for spaces where we can have our families with us, then we're not doing it right. Please be good to each other. Thank you all once again so much. Get to know these celebrities.